Welcome back. Glad to have with us today Dave Newman from the Hearing Connection. And, something to talk about that we don't often talk about with regard to hearing loss is the impact that hearing loss has on our relationships and especially family relationships. And I can think of some examples of where family members got frustrated because of hearing loss of one person.
Correct. And people think of hearing loss as they think their loved one can't hear or they're deaf, and they're not. So hearing loss kind of gradually goes, it slowly goes away. And a lot of time it's not that you can't hear, it's that you don't understand. So that's when it's time to possibly reach out and see where that is, because when we do audiometric testing, we actually test to see what level that is, but we also on speech understanding. So sometimes in communicating with your loved ones, you misunderstand. You say words and they get the wrong word. And then that can be frustrating with the family members because they said, well, this is what I heard. I didn't hear that. And then the people will say, well, you just don't pay attention. Well, that's not necessarily true.
Right, and then there's also, I think, probably as hearing diminishes, the background noise can either become more present or it's harder to distinguish for the person with the hearing loss.
For the person with the hearing loss, and so that person will say, well, if the spouse or the loved one says, let's go out to dinner, let's go to see family, they start to withdraw. So that's another thing that we have to look at communicating with your family members is if you don't communicate well, you will start to withdraw from family because it is just really frustrating.
Yeah, because if you go to a crowded restaurant and you can't hear or you can't understand when someone's speaking to you, that gets pretty frustrating. But what about if a family member detects suspects hearing loss in, let's say, a spouse, how do you initiate that conversation?
Probably the biggest thing with losing your hearing is when you're watching television and if you say, honey, this is where it's comfortable for me at 30. And the grandkid says, yeah, it sounds good to me, but you turn it up to 60, there's a problem there. So that can be, a 10 decibel hearing loss is a significant hearing loss. And that can almost be like having the volume at 50 and then turn it down to 25. That 10 decibels is a big deal. So if you can communicate that and just say, look, why don't you just get it tested? At our place, we test for free. Hearing evaluation's easy. And it just doesn't, like I say, it doesn't affect just you, it affects the whole family dynamics. So grandkids are a big reason people come to see me because it's not necessarily they want to hear their spouse, but they want to hear those grandkids.
That's right, I'm sure that's true. So if they want to come see you or at least contact you, how do they do that?
The best way to do is you can go to stjoehearing.com or just Google the Hearing Connection. And we're all over Facebook too, so just look us up on the internet.
And relationships matter. And if you detect a problem, speak up and try to solve it. Dave, thank you very much. Appreciate you being here today.